welcome to week 7 of the Innars series. And I know I'm late on this, but Sunday was Mother's Day and yesterday I was sick. But I'm back now, and we have a few new features to discuss so that way you make sure you don't make these mistakes. Starting out, we did not get a level increase. I guess they're just giving us time to get those weapon materials, but expect this to happen in patch 3.0. So starting out, let's talk about Artificial Island. You want to go to Casual, go to Building, and then go to your Artificial Island. And if you notice, I have an old man, so I'm going to get this message once I visit my island. But if you remember my previous videos, hopefully you guys went to the exchange store and bought all your weekly items. If not, make sure you do it this week and cleared all of your enemies for the week. But the biggest change we had in 2.5 is of course the mysterious vendor. Right here, you'll see that now he offers Titan materials. And since you're able to visit your friends or crewmates' islands, I recommend that you use your 8 attempts when visiting islands and buy Titan materials since they're so limited. But if you luck out and the old man happens to visit your island, you're able to buy all the materials without having to worry about your 8 attempts. Also in the casual tab, we have fishing, to where you want to ideally try to get your level to 9. So that way, in the store, you can buy a free standard matrice. For this week, we can get Chiro. And if you're just starting out with fishing, what I recommend that you do, buy 100 to 150 green baits, so that way you get high enough to buy purple baits. And if you don't have time to fish, you can just keep using your available bait for the week to buy purple bait. That way you have plenty of bait to level up your fishing once you have more time. Next, you want to do your Mia's Kitchen and knock out your 4 bounties for the day. Now remember, you can either choose Vera or Sphera. Vera will offer you inner materials along with completing your daily bounties, but it's much harder to complete because you might have to go to the Confounding Abyss, Innars, Sphera, all over the place. Whereas Sphera, everything is pretty much in the same area and it's much easier to complete. So my recommendation, if you have a little bit of time and you're trying to complete the appointed research, you may want to do Vera missions. Next, we got Vitality, starting with joint operations. And if you remember in my preview video, this has completely changed to where you get 1 random dungeon for the day. And now you have the option to choose what type of gear you want to go for. So you can choose to go for a Pacific element, to where as you see here, I'm going for Volt, or you can choose to go for a Pacific item like Handguard, so that way you can get that crit. But one thing to note is you want to come back to this joint operation page after you complete your first dungeon and click on the daily first clear reward so you can get those 3 shards. Because if you do not do this, you lose out on those 3 shards. And if you're someone who really needs Silka or Habuella matrices, you want to make sure that you click that. One thing to note is that you'll see up here is that you have this instant affix to where you get a special affix, where chests also have a chance to drop certain pieces of items. So for here, we get a Fawn Mass Shard, but for certain dungeons, this could end up being a Silka or a Habuella matrice. So you do want to kind of make sure that you take a look and see what they're offering. So if you're going for those specific matrices, you might want to save your Vitality solution so that way you can run that dungeon over and over again, so that way you can get those shards. And the last thing that I want to mention about joint operations are achievements. If you go to the battle section, Alliance, you'll notice that you might have a few achievements that you have not completed if you didn't do this before patch 2.5. So if that is the case, if the random dungeon for the day is one of these achievements that you need to do, you want to make sure that you do it that day so that way you can get all of these rewards. Because if you take a look at this, you can get a lot of gold dust by completing these achievements. Then next you have Interstellar Exploration, to where you want to make sure you check Vera as well as check Aspera so that way you can see all of your Stargates. And how you tell if you have a level 3 Stargate is if this weapon battery category has a number 3, it's a level 3 Stargate, but if it has a number 2, it's a level 2 Stargate. And if you don't have any level 3s, then you can always do dimensional trials, to where all you have to do is just click go and you can do this quick battle and you can use up all of your vitality, or just a little bit depending on how many attempts you want to use. And this works the same way for Matrix data packs and gold. Then you have your optionals, and that is giving gifts to your 1.0 characters, and the best way to do that is to go to the black market and talk to Hopkins, see this island and do the claw machine, or knock out your 2 trainings for the day. But what is not optional is to do your 8 fun zones. And one thing to note is now we have a space rift located near the farthest fun zone, which is very nice because this one was annoying to get to every day. But what is not optional is to do your 8 fun zones for the day. And one thing to note is that the fun zone right here is the hardest to get to. But in patch 2.5, they added a space rift so that way we can instantly teleport right there. And all you need to do to activate this space rift is just go to that area. Another place where they activate the space rift is right here next to the cactuses. As you see, I haven't visited this area yet, so it's a Greyspace rift. And once I visit the area, now I can activate the space rift. So as you see, my character's right here, but now I can click on this and simply transmit over there. But on top of that, if you have not cleared out the Greyspace yet, then I recommend that you knock out your 6 Greyspace fissures because it does offer a lot of good materials. But the best rewards are in the Twilight Zone, but you do have an 8-hour time limit, so you could wait on it. You also don't want to forget to do your racing for the month, so that way you can get that free 400 mirror. And try not to forget to do your security force missions for the week, so that way you can get those old Vera coins and mirror as well. Then don't forget to check out your appointed research and try to knock out the new appointed research because they do offer some pretty good materials. But one thing you want to make sure that you don't do is let your energy cap, because remember, you can only hold a grand total of 20 energy, so that way you can get your 5 free energy a day. And if you enjoy these guys, I would greatly appreciate a like so that way they can spread more on YouTube. So now let's talk about the events. Of course, we have a supply run, which is actually pretty good. You want to make sure that you're logging in enough time so that way you can get your red nucleus, your golden gear, and a few gold nucleus. But we also should be getting close to getting the extra reward as well. And in this same section, I want to point out that there is a survey, and I recommend that you fill it out. So if you're enjoying 2.5, or if you think there's some things that they can improve, let them know so that way when we get to 3.0, it's going to be a much better gaming experience for everyone else. And with a new patch, we have a bunch of challenger to-do lists. And if you notice right here, it says that this lasts for about 41 days and 4 hours at the time of recording, meaning that this ends on June 27th. So there's a good chance that patch 3.0 is either going to be on June 28th or June 29th. But all of this is exactly the same how it was in patch 2.4. They want you to explore the new area, our new event coming out Friday. Then of course we have the challenger to-do list. So you know, if you do Origin of War, various challenges like Frontier Clash, Void Rift, and Raids, you get some really good rewards. But one of the things that I really like that they did is almost all the rewards offer old Vera coins, which we had a very severe lack of. So if you do complete all of these, you're going to get a lot of old Vera coins, helping you clear out some of those machines you were struggling to do. But speaking of events, some might be wondering why we don't have an event happening right now. And the reason being is unfortunately we do not get our new event until Friday, May 18th. So where we're going to have another hide and seek thing, but it's going to be underwater. But one thing to note is that we also do get Titan gear materials, so you do want to make sure that you do this event. On top of that, the same day, we're going to get the Fiona wedding skin gachapon. So if you're looking forward to that, you just have a few more days until you can roll on that. But now I want to talk about our new boss, the spider boss. So if you perfect decipher his chest and you have your dimension level to the max level, from what I've seen, it looks like you can get anywhere between 5 to 10 booster modules and 1 advancement module. And yes, you do have a chance to get a Hobawella and Silka Matrice. But personally, I don't recommend you going for this boss because you get so little booster modules. But if you really want to try to get those Hobawella and Silka matrices, you could go for this boss. But I think you would be better off either just going for Silka or Hobawella to get their Pacific matrice. But I think the boss that offers the best rewards is Rudolph. Of course, you could do Magma, but that one's annoying to fight. And Rudolph, you can pretty much kill fairly easily, especially if you have someone's dimension level on level 10. Because Rudolph drops 12 booster modules and 1 advancement modules, as well as getting some space-time crystal fragments. And another alternative monster that you could try to farm is Hara, because yes, you will get less booster modules and advancement modules, but at least you get some visor shards to where it does take quite a bit of visors before you can finally find that right visor that you need for your Pacific team. But one thing I did want to mention why I'm talking about Hara is Crystal Max scores. Yes, you can get this from the spider boss, but it only drops 1, and you do need at least that 1 to knock out the appointed research. So if you find yourself trying to farm for these Crystal Max scores, Hara is a good choice. But one thing you may not know is that when you kill Ava, she also drops 2 Crystal Max scores as well. As you can see here, that is one of the ways to get it. Then we got the weekly tab. You want to make sure you do enough things down here so that way you can get everything up top, which brings us to our challenges. So if you're trying to do something like the Bygone Phantasm or Frontier Clash, you might want to save your Mia's Kitchen so that way you can power yourself up. But starting with the Bygone Phantasm. So this week is going to be a tough week for me. As you see, I already have some people that are above balance round 30, and they have a higher sequential score than me. So most likely, I'm probably getting 3rd if I try really hard, which does hurt because the higher rank you get for the week, the more Titan materials you can get. I would say you want to at least try to be somewhere between that 1st and 3rd place. if it's possible. But one thing I recommend that you do is take a look at this weapon bonus, and if you have a good weapon bonus, you might want to try to climb a few levels. But if your CS is high enough, you may be able to do this sneak to next level, and if you beat that floor, you're able to jump up 11 levels. But again, the biggest thing that will determine your rank is sequential phantasm. If you're able to get a high score here, most likely you're going to get the top rewards for the week. Frontier Clash, you want to make sure you do this so that way you can get that golden gear. Origin of War, you want to make sure you knock this out before level 25 difficulty drops below 600%, so that way you can get all of the rewards. Void Rift, is this a first time boss for you? You want to go ahead and knock it out. Void Abyss, now this one is pretty difficult, so I recommend that you go with a pretty strong team. For me, I went Flame DPS, and this is the tech that I used. Wormhole, today is your last day to go ahead and complete this, and you want to make sure that you do so that way you can get that extra energy crystal dust. Raids, just like joint operations, it picks a random raid for the week, and all you need to do is complete it one time. And you either need to choose heroic or challenge. Now personally, I recommend always doing challenge so that way you get all the rewards for the week. But if you do find that difficult to complete, it's not the end of the world, because challenging difficulty only gives a couple extra rewards, which are not that great. Break from Destiny, you want to make sure you do this at least one time so that way you can get those 250 dark crystals. Arena, if you're trying to reach Grand Marshal, then you either want to do Apex League or Critical Abyss, and you might want to put in a couple hours each day so that way you can reach it. Then we have our daily buys, so you want to go to shop, hunt, and then buy your vitality solutions, only if you can afford it. But for me, I feel that my gear is high enough, so I'm going to pass on this. But one thing I recommend that you do try to get are your advancement modules and your booster modules for the week. And why we're here are the limited packs that I decided to pass on. The other ones are pretty good deals to go ahead and pick up if you're trying to get characters in the future, with some being better than others. If you want a more detailed description on what are the better packs, feel free to check out this video. But one thing that I will mention that is not a terrible deal is the special proof of purchase box. If you are someone that needs a lot of standard matrices, this may not be the worst thing to buy, especially since it is pretty difficult to get special vouchers in the game. Then we have the Commissary, starting with the Crystal Dust Store. You want to make sure you buy your Potent Omnium Crystal 2, your advancement modules, and your booster modules for the week, as well as your core control module and your augmentation factor. And if you need to give gifts to your Vera characters, make sure you buy the Vera special gift for the week as well. Now with raids, we get 3,600 crystal dust, so you should have enough to buy everything in the store, including your Potent Omnium Crystal 2, as long as you're playing every day. So if you have extra energy crystal dust, then I recommend that you go for gloves or boots, so that way you can get your crit up. And if you have a good pair of gloves and you have a good pair of boots, then you can go for whatever else you want. Space Time Store. Now you want to make sure you buy your advancement modules, your booster modules, and your data repeater for the week. And if you have some extra crystal fragments, you can consider buying tactical IP shards or combat engines. Crew Store. Now the only thing that you want to spend your points on are relics, and the relics that I recommend are either Omnium Shield or Space-Time Rift or Drone level 3. And if you have all of that, then I recommend putting all of your points into Hologram Protector. Support Store. You want to make sure you buy your gold, your Space-Time Crystal Dust, and your Space-Time Crystal Fragments. And if you have some extra support points, then you can buy Black Nucleus. For return points, I recommend that you buy your Space-Time Crystal Fragments, your Proof of Purchase, and your Goat Nucleus. Also, buy your 2 Radar Detectives. And if you need help on how to do that, I got a guide on my channel. Point Store. Now the only thing that you want to spend your points on are spare special gifts, so that way you don't have to do training, black market, or see this item again. But if you need to level up your matrices or weapons, you could always buy matrix data packs or weapon batteries. And with your critical abyss points, you could always buy clusters. But besides that, I just recommend that you explore the map so that way you can get all of those resources, especially if you're looking forward to getting new characters like Rubilia or some of those 3.0 characters. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and let me know down in the comments, are you guys enjoying patch 2.5 or are you looking forward to 3.0? But other than that, I'll talk with you guys later.